There we go. All right, Muddy, you got a war story.
Well, it's preparation is important. However,
Okay.
it's difficult to know exactly how a system will respond at full load. It's difficult
Under
to
pressure.
test do a full stress
Mm-hmm.
test. And I was helping a client today. First of all, fantastic numbers, had 42,000 people registered for their event, had almost 19,000 people show up on the dashboard, and had over 10,000 people live on Zoom across 15 meetings.
That's better than
But
average. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, yeah. What they wanted is the fewest number. They wanted full rooms as opposed to opening all 15 rooms at the start. And so that was one of the questions I had asked you previously, Grant, was, some ways to do that. And your process of setting up rules, just a catch-all rule that so all 15 rooms were open and we had our systems in and the program feed going into those rooms, but we had a rule set up that had no conditions, but the rooms were 1 through 5. And so we waited until 1 through 5 got to 850 people or so, and then flipped on the next 5 rooms, and they filled up until, well, lots of people came in early-ish, but it's right at start time when lots of people pour into the rooms. And so, 30 seconds until showtime, even though the client had purchased lots of credits, lots of packages, they hit the plan limits right as I was going in to open the next 5 rooms, and I couldn't get in. And so I purchased, and it said, "Thanks for your purchase, exceeded plan limits." And I was like, okay, we're really over capacity. Purchase again, purchase again, purchase again. Spent $5,000 in rapid succession until it finally said, okay, you've got enough credits. And it turned out to be way more credits than we needed. The system just wasn't refreshing, even though I was refreshing it. But in that moment, those first 5 rooms hit 1,000 people, and people couldn't get in until I could get on and flip the next 5 rooms on. Luckily, it wasn't very long that was happening, and so just a couple of support responses like, just try again, and we got everybody in. But that process of having 5 rooms and then batching those, just adding those rules, that process worked great. Real happy with that. And the other thing I learned is Zoom ISO doesn't love being in a room with 1,000 people. This is the first time I worked with them, and all of their speakers were in room 1, rather than having a separate speaker stage. And the project ended up coming together at the last minute, so I didn't have time to walk them through how we should do it. This was the 4th time they've done it, but it's just way bigger than they've had so far. And so it was like, oh, we've exceeded our capacity. We need to bring in some outside support. And luckily it all went well, but it was right at that moment when everything was coming together and people are flooding into the room where got a good stress test. So learned some things.
And as you know, that the account lockout doesn't prevent attendees from joining, unless you have a rule in place, right? That's going to stop them from getting.
As long as there's a room open for them to getting in the room, yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah, and so those people would have flooded through had the rooms have been open, and you never know, right? And I get it, I guess, and this is all hindsight, and I'm sure you've already thought this, is that you'd be able to push back on when people say we want the rooms to be full. It's like, well, the chances are you really just need 50 people, right? And even then, when you're spotlighting, people are probably going to see 8 people. It's like, how many people do you need in the chat to be experiencing the live event in its fullness? And it's probably not that many, right? And so arguably, if it was like, and you don't know, you didn't know how many were going to show up, but you'd be like, I think we can turn them all on, and it's going to be all right, because there's going to be enough people to spread across those 15 rooms. The difference is probably not that much. So, but it does make me think about ways of managing that. This isn't the first time now, Blue, that we've had this, and then the complication of being locked out of the account to be able to open the different rooms. No,
This was a little bit of a unique situation, kind of a coalescing of multiple different things that were kind of all happening at the same time. But
and now you
ultimately,
weren't in.
it proves the value of Obvio, like being able to send 40,000 people to a
Sure.
dashboard and everyone can get into Zoom. Like it solves a lot of problems.
And this wasn't in your account, right?
No, this was in a client account and they're on a pro account. And so, as we're opening the rooms, we hit the limit of 5 rooms. And so I've advised them to upgrade to enterprise for that size event. And
sure.
And they just became a client on Friday. So all this, came together at the last minute when they realized, holy crap, we've got 30,000 people registered. We need a different solution. So
because of course the other.
And they would have had to buy enough credits for 18,000 and change, right?
Yeah, they did. They had already pre-purchased lots.
Oh,
I
so
think when I stopped
and they hadn't opened rooms. Is that what was going on? What?
No.
They had 40,000 people check in, so they had to pay for that, right?
No, they
didn't. They had 18,000 people check in.
18, sorry.
Yeah.
No, what happened is the client wanted full rooms, so they would rather 5 rooms at 1,000 people than 10 rooms at 500. And so I was waiting to turn on the rooms.
Had they not yet purchased those?
No, they did. They pre-purchased lots of add-ons, but didn't know how many. So I think they had, when I finally stopped to read it, because again, 30 seconds till showtime, it's like, take my money, just open the rooms. When I finally stopped to read it, the 5th time I purchased, it said you need 6 credits. I had just purchased my 50th credit, so it was like, okay, I only needed 6 more credits beyond what they had already pre-purchased. So I think they had enough for like 15,000, but then we had 18,000 or something like that. So it was like, we needed a few more credits.
But not lots. Yeah.
Yeah. Not 50 more credits. So, but anyway, I had a couple questions in there, related to large scale events.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to mention about the overflow option in enterprise, right? So the standard setup is balanced. I don't know if you've played with overflow at all, but it has its own caveats.
Well, can you set a limit? Can you set like overflow at 800 people? Or is it going to go all the way to 1,000?
I think it's preset at 900, right, Blue?
Oh,
you can define it.
Oh, beautiful. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I knew that was an enterprise feature. Again, this is the 4th time they've done this event. It's now at a scale where it makes all kinds of sense to be on enterprise, because even the credits that they purchased and the extra rooms and the capacity, like it would have paid for itself already with this event.
So using the individual room limit, Blue?
No. The pro account can have 5 open rooms.
No. Sorry. I'm sorry, Muddy. I'm still talking about the overflow. Because I thought there was an option too, but so we're talking just in the room itself to limit versus there's nothing.
When you go to overflow.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you're going slowly
because
because I was like,
I have
Well, I
looked at
haven't.
overflow in the past,
Yeah,
but I
so
couldn't.
I've played with it, and I have to tell you, because it hasn't. So here's the.
it's
I'm going to
another
say
caveat.
this. Well, it's a big caveat. It hasn't been tested at scale. So I don't trust it. And the only times that I've been able to, that I've needed it, were at scale. So I manage it manually because I don't know if it'll work, which is, not a great thing to say, but
It's because of the speed, and this is always the thing. It's like how many people hit it all at once could
yeah.
it could in theory blow over that limit that you set,
Well, when I
and they
set to
don't.
overflow, I don't see a place to define
I think it's
on
at the
my
room level.
interface.
I think
No,
what you have
at
to,
the
Uh,
room
uh,
level, you
uh.
set the
yeah.
limits. Yeah.
But the thing that I'm not 100% certain on, that doesn't make a ton of sense, is it says limit number of attendees in the room. So I think that's what you do
Oh
to
yeah,
hit,
I see that
to
now.
define, but you have to do that per room. So you
Mm.
set it to overflow, then you
Yeah.
set the limit, and you make it 800 for each of them. And when Obvio sees 800 people in the room, it'll overflow. Part of the reason why I don't trust it is because Obvio is always 30 to 40 seconds behind. And those big events, a lot can change in 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like this, and
The way
I can test it with 500, right? Because that's often a practical limit. If I want 5 to 6 people in a breakout room, 5 to 600 people is the most I want in a Zoom room where we're going to have breakout. So that might be
here's
enough time.
here's the specific about the apprehension, a little bit of apprehension on a larger event, is that when we're in balanced mode, when it's looking at that pool of rooms, it's going to keep pulling a different room each time for each person, right? So it's balancing across it. So it doesn't necessarily matter how fast that's happening. Each time it's going to be pulling a different room. When you're pulling the same room and slamming that room, the delay of it knowing that there is however many assigned to it is the concern. So when we have a balanced view, um, it actually we're more confident because we can say we've got 10 rooms in that pool. It's going to keep balancing across them and pulling, even though it doesn't necessarily need to know how many are in the rooms at the time to be able to balance within reason, right? Because it's still pulling the different room and assigning people to different rooms. And then it starts to level out. And that's why you can see sometimes, oh, that room's got 10 more people in it than the other room. And then it slowly starts to balance out. So that's the concern at scale. If you're slamming one room, it's possible, depending on how many people are hitting it at once, that it, even though you told it, I only want 500 or 600, it's already slammed through 1,000 people in that time because they were all trying to get in at the same time. So that's
And I
a
wonder
little
if it
bit.
increases the likelihood that people kind of their systems kind of crap out in that join flow process where every now and then someone will get like it's asking me for a password or it says the meeting hasn't started or some of that weirdness. The balance worked great when if I would if I had enough credits in there to make it all happen, flipping on the next 5 rooms when the first 5 were at 800 and seeing them fill up until it and then all of them going again. I mean, that was it worked beautifully.
That worked. Yeah.
I think it was just several things hitting all at once.
Yeah. So, things like this, but early, early open times, like opening the area early is always really good. Because, like half an hour before or
We
even
did.
more.
Yeah. They had a DJ in there
Yeah.
for half an hour. So,
That's cool. Great.
the first 3,000 people were in nice and early. It was, but then there's all those who are like,
It's the other
they sent out an
15,000.
email, they sent out a text message 5 minutes before, showtime. So it was like big influx.
Yeah.
So yeah. And again, this is the first time I've worked with this client. So half of the stuff on the show was like, we could design better for this next time around. So,
Yeah.
And like my
Fair
question
enough.
about contribution, if we had a speaker stage with 15 or 20 speakers, that's easy on a system rather than trying to have a system keep up with 1,000 people and be ready to pull in any one of those 1,000 at a moment's notice, right? Like, so
You're right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we can step through your questions, but I think you appreciate the kind of inside baseball stuff that we have, particularly around assigning people to rooms on that
yeah,
the first entry, and because we have to do the algorithm has built over time, and part of it is also not just how many people have got into Zoom, but how many people have been allocated to a room, and so we're trying to keep that as well. So okay, there's this many that are allocated. Zoom's only reporting that 100 less than that, so we need to be careful. But at some point there might be people that have not joined, or they clicked the button but didn't join, and things like that. And so there's a bit going on that we've tested over the years, which is why that balanced approach actually works, the best. It's been tried and tested.
Barbara had a good question
So
around what are we talking about with credits or blocks of credits. I don't think is actually the right term. I think it's blocks.
right,
But
right,
room different
yeah, we can
Obvio
set.
account
Let me.
levels.
Yeah. Did you have that
Yeah,
as a
different
question?
different. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, we can put that in as a question. I thought it was just useful to
Oh no, no,
call
go
it
go.
out.
I thought you were referring to a question you've already
No,
entered, but
Barbara just put a question in the chats asking about what is credits. And so at each of the
right.
different Obvio account levels, Obvio Essentials, Obvio Pro, and Obvio Enterprise, it includes a certain number of attendees. So at the pro level, it's 500 attendees per event. And this is active attendees, which means they've landed on the dashboard at some time during the event. So for this client, they had 40,000 people registered, but the active attendees were 18,000 people that came to the dashboard. But on the pro plan, the first 500 are included. But if you need more capacity, it's something in Obvio called add-ons, and you can purchase capacity blocks in 250 person blocks for $100. And so, $1,000 would get you 2,500. You can buy 10 blocks, and so this was just buying blocks of capacity. The other type of add-on is the Obvio Pro account allows you to have 5 rooms running concurrently. And those can be across different areas: main stage, VIP, welcome celebration. Now, from a practical standpoint, you need a computer to run each of those. And so, it's usually talking about either a bigger or more complex event. But once you hit more than 5, and in this case, we wanted to send the show into 15 different rooms. So we needed 15 different rooms all running at the same time. And so that's the other type of add-on and those additional rooms are good for 30 days, as I recall. So that's what that's all
Did you
about.
did you do cloud Muddy, or did you have 15 running locally?
Well, Tucker saved my ass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
he was running the distribution. I was cutting the show and sending him the feed, and he was distributing it to the other 15 or the other 14 rooms.
Nice.
And then so when my Zoom ISO melted down, it was lovely to have someone who could spin up another machine and drop it in the main stage and pull the
Yeah, that's
feeds from
cool.
there. Yeah.
Nice work. Okay, so Barbara, yes, the Leap plan is equivalent to the Pro plan, so that's what you're on when you is included in Leap. So you're all good. Barbara, have you got a question? I'll come back to Muddy's question. Did you have something there?
Well, no, this is building on what Muddy is doing. So when he was Muddy, when you were talking about they wanted every room to be full, what was, and again, I don't have events this size, so this is just really curiosity. Did they want them to be full because of the interaction level? Because in my opinion, I feel like I'd want there to be, if I'm going to have breakouts, I'd rather have there be less people. But what was the reason they wanted to have them full?
there weren't breakouts for this one. It was essentially kind of a big, might as well have been a big webinar, right? It was mostly kind of panelists and speakers talking to the room. My perception, and again, I haven't, it's a new client, so I haven't had the kind of conversation about what that experience is really like. But my perception is that when you're in a room with 800 people, it feels big time. Like, whoa, look at all these people, right? Lots of interaction and lots of energy. But, you know, as Grant points out, you get 50 people in a meeting with an active chat and it's, you know, it's flying by. So, you know, the difference between 300 people, 500 people, 800 people, by 800 people, you can hardly read the chat. You know, it's just flying by so fast. So I actually think fewer people is a better experience, but that's just my perception at the moment.
Yeah, and as you said, it's just you getting a closer relationship with the client, and now you've got an event to, you know, as history to lean on, and then you can start to influence some of that. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of your questions. So do you anticipate Ovio being able to harness the new larger Zoom meeting options of 3,000 and 5,000 participants in one meeting? So there's a significant price difference, huge price difference in those. The other thing that we haven't confirmed yet is if it changes how many breakout rooms. My understanding is that it doesn't yet, and so it's still 100 breakout rooms is the most. But so I don't know if Blue has a business answer about that. But
I think there's a chance that we do, but how we would do it, Muddy, is, and this is a conversation that we've had multiple times internally, is allow people to connect their own Zoom account to Obvio. So if you want a 5,000 person meeting, you can do that, or in theory, right? If this were enabled, you'd be able to do that and then just add your API key to the account. And rather than using Obvio Zoom meetings, you use your own. So that's been a conversation, and possibly one that will be a more active conversation in the coming 12 months or so. But yeah, that would be how I would see doing it. Just because otherwise it would just be cost. It wouldn't make sense from a cost standpoint for us to do it. Because the only way it would make sense for us is just based on how our, not too much inside baseball, but based on how our account type works, we can increase capacity, we can't decrease capacity. So if we add a 5,000 person meeting, we're adding that 5,000 person meeting for 12 months. And if we do that, we're then going to charge the client for that. And if the client only needs it for 1 month, they wouldn't do that, right? So it just doesn't, like, it just makes no sense for us to do it. So like I said, my gut is that if we do, or if and when we support it, it'll be through your accounts. So indirectly supporting it.
That makes sense. And theoretically, if the capacity was just one meeting of 3,000 or 5,000, I could still make a button that pointed to my own Zoom. I just wouldn't necessarily, you know, get some of the other benefits of the, but yeah, that makes sense. And
yeah,
for those that are,
you wouldn't get the tracking benefits inside of Obvio, although you have the Zoom dashboard that you could leverage. You don't get the registration, you don't get the security of the meeting. Those elements you miss out on, but it's doable.
Yeah, and the registration also means people come in named correctly. And, you know, if you've got an event that size,
yep,
that's really helpful not to have anybody listed as iPhone.
Mom's iPad.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I saw it was $1,000 per month for a capacity of 3,000 and $2,500 per month for a meeting capacity up to 5,000. So That makes
Yeah.
sense. Thanks.
I think 5,000 is 5,000 per month. I think.
Oh, okay, maybe.
No, it's 2,500 per month for 5,000. And yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that the nice thing is our Mike, our lead developer, was smart enough when we were setting this up to say maybe we should just keep it an option for later to be able to have multiple Zoom accounts, like for people to have their own Zoom account. And so the system is not that all of it is, but that the fundamentals of it, the foundation layer of it all, is based on being able to handle multiple Zoom accounts, and so it could be at a time. But yeah, I mean, I think Blue, I think we could test that at some point, because I think we can just do 1 month on the account, but you know more about how that is set up. But it looks like it's letting us. We could try it someday. Ideally, we have an event that doesn't need any breakout rooms, and you just want to spend $2,500 for fun.
I mean, I don't.
No, that's right.
Did you want to do that?
No, not really.
If I'm going to
For
spend
good.
$2,500 for fun, it's going to be to go to TVE. I'll say
I was
that.
going to say there's a lot funner ways to spend $2,500.
Fair enough. All right, Matty, you've also got what can be done to speed up the time from purchase in Go High Level and the tag or group populating into Obvio so button shows up for someone. What was your experience? What sort of delay were you experiencing?
Well, the client was asking me that, or kind of lamenting that they've had this issue in the past. They sell the main session is like 3 hours, and then there's like a 3-hour VIP session. So for that whole first 3 hours, they're prompting people to buy VIP to go on to the, complete the second half of the bonus session. And so they get a lot of people purchasing VIP right as the VIP doors are opening, right? Like there's a big FOMO as people are heading over to the VIP room. There's a big surge of people being like, okay, I'll do it. I'll buy VIP because it's starting. And so they really want to be able to buy VIP on high level and then see that button show up as soon as possible to be able to actually get in there. And so mostly the client was asking me how do you make that faster? And I said, it kind of is what it is. But it's, there's, and I was asking Justin, he said it's a couple of minutes for Go High Level to update the integration. But then he pointed out that it could also be 2 minutes for the dashboard to update. So, the only thing that could be done practically is
a tiny bit worse than that. Because the tag being applied won't refresh the dashboard. So in that particular case, the client would actually have to refresh the dashboard. So the best bet to do it is to get a link of some sort somehow onto the thank you page. We're doing this with a client this week, actually, where they get a we give them an area link on the thank you page, like one of those
direct access link, for at the area level. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then we're pre-filling. There's a couple things that you can do, but but just to keep our lives easy, we're pre-filling
the URL parameters.
The URL parameters for first name, last name, and email address. They click on that. And then their email confirmation also has that same link rather than relying on the dashboard sync, because there's too many variables. And even if you can get it done super fast, right? Even if it's ready to, let's say it's updated in near instantly, the client still has to refresh the dashboard because the tag parameters for the attendees don't hit the system unless a refresh is called. So
it's not constantly looking at the visibility rules and testing them over and over again.
Constantly looking at the visibility rules, but the actual attendees,
Specific
like
attendee data, the
yeah,
user
there,
data.
like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like when you go onto a dashboard, if I make a change to visibility rules, it applies instantly or within 2 minutes. But if you don't have that tag at that moment and you get that tag applied afterwards, the local storage of the browser isn't updated with the updated tags, is basically what's going on. That only
That
happens
makes
on a
sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's worth understanding that, so that all the global data for a dashboard is constantly updated, right? So that's on basically the 90 seconds loop, and so that's always refreshing. You make a change to some text in a blog, that'll update for everyone live. But specific user data is only captured on the initial launch of the browser. Each time it's refreshed, which is another thing. It's like using a link, using a generic link to force the dashboard to open again. That would work, right? But as Blue's saying, you've got to get all that timing right. So the tag would have to have been applied before they click that link to then go to the dashboard to see that updated. So there's a few variables.
And the beautiful thing about providing a direct access link with the URL parameters is it's the same link for everyone. And so you're not waiting for high level to update a new login URL or anything like that. You can send that right away. And yeah, that's a great solution.
Cool. And then let me just jump to...
I'll wait on the production question till the end of the call.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just check. It's all good. Amy's coming back later to question something. Okay. And that was... Muddy's got a production question which we can geek out a bit more towards the end. Has anyone else got any other questions? Obvio event questions. Okay. You want to share anything that's happening, Blue? Anything new that's happening? Either of an Obvio or in the event space?
I'm good.
Good, thanks. Fair enough.
Are we all out of questions?
Yeah.
Can I jump in?
Yes.
Totally appreciate yesterday. That was amazing. Mind blown and opened up just a lot of, I'm trying to figure out like a lot of how to compartmentalize some of the things. Is this the appropriate place to talk about maybe how to integrate some of what we learned yesterday with the AI into OB and Ovio in implementing that? Or is the OB question more for office hours?
I mean, generally it's more for office hours, but given the fact that all 5 of you who are on this call are all elite members, I think it's probably fine to just go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, just in general, I would just ask, now that we have so much more capability with bringing in so much more research and clarifying some of the marketing and clarifying some of like the funneling the right fit client, do you have strategies or just in general how to implement what we learned yesterday into working with OB?
That's a really broad question. So what I would say as a starting point is a lot of what we learned yesterday was how to use AI outside of just creating your virtual event, right? It was more general practice. And if you want to take some of the stuff that you're doing in like what I would do if I was you guys, I would be contemplating taking some of the right fit client profile information that you get from Obi and carrying that over to ChatGPT as an example. And if you're, doing a webinar launch and you're wanting ChatGPT's help to strategize a webinar, provide it with context around who your right fit client is, what the ultimate offer is, that you get from Obi just through copy and pasting that information from one platform to the other, right? So rather than say, hey, ChatGPT, I'd like your help in building a webinar or structuring a webinar to help people, buy my virtual event ticket, it would be, hey, hey, ChatGPT, I'd like your help in structuring a webinar for my right fit client. This is everything I know about my right fit client. Copy summary, copy challenges, copy dreams and desires. The event that I'm hosting is designed to sell a high ticket offer. This is my high ticket offer. Copy information from Obi about what your high ticket offer is and what it does. The method that I teach my clients through my high ticket offer is the following: copy method into that prompt, and then say, can you structure a 60-minute webinar in the general format of Russell Brunson's Perfect Webinar Secrets that will attract my right fit client and have them be interested in wanting more, knowing that the end result is coming to my live event to buy my high ticket offer. That's like, so how I would be using the Obi in combination with what you used yesterday is a lot of what both me and Mike talked about a lot, which is taking your output from one AI tool and inputting it into the other, right? And constantly using that information to continue to grow on itself. And you wind up with way better, way better responses as a result of that, right? So even though the amount of text that you type in those two prompts is very little different, they're almost exactly the same, right? But they're going to appear dramatically different in size because you're going to copy and paste, or you would copy and paste all of the information from Obi into it.
Yeah, thank you. Just that cross-pollinating between the different things, even just what we did yesterday and what I did on my own after, just brought so much more clarity and perspective. So thank you for talking about that.
Yeah, no worries. It was a fun day. I was wiped at the end of it, but it was a fun day.
It was intense, but in a good way.
Yeah. All right.
Can I add on to that? Can I just add on to that really quick, what she asked? So I'm part of another, through my certification, what it is that I do as a profession. A lot of women I met with today, and I talked to them. I said, you wouldn't believe the stuff that I learned yesterday or saw. I said, I don't think I learned it, but I saw it. And none of them had any idea what I was talking about, which is pretty much how I felt going into yesterday. Is I didn't know a lot of what you said, so it was great. And I'm just wondering, because they're like, does he do a training on this all the time? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's just for us leapers. I don't know, because there's several of them that are actually contemplating going to this TVE because they may want to join Leap. But are you intending to do maybe so like you had the summer school, or you have these other little things that kind of get people's attention? Are you going to do something around AI and how you can help um people with that to trying to get them interested?
Probably, but
Okay.
it will likely be associated with the launch of the Obi SaaS application.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So the application that we talked about, where that you guys will get access to sometime
Yep.
early next year, where you can
Mm-hmm.
create your own AI hub or AI enabled courses.
Yep.
That's something where when we do that, there will probably be some education around AI that will come at that moment. But
Okay.
I do like
Great.
Buddy's answer. That does put a
Well,
smile on my face.
I actually, so today I told them all, I was like, there's an event that's coming up in October, and I think you should go. It's super reasonable, and they teach you a ton of stuff, blah blah blah. But a lot of them are in the medical field, and I'm one of the only ones who's not in the medical field, but still do kind of the same things they do. So it's time wise, they're a little restricted, or they
Yeah,
think they
well,
are.
for
But
sure.
anyway,
And I'll tell you, it's interesting that you say that, right? Because what you said at the beginning to preface the statement, which was, you know, you had this conversation with a group of people, and it's like they had no idea that this existed. And
Yeah.
I do really think that there's a lot of that. Like I have conversation with friends or with family outside of the direct world that we're related to, and they have no idea what we're talking about. They're like, "You can do that? What are you talking about?" Like,
Right.
so this is definitely one of those inside baseball things. And when you're in the diamond, like everything makes perfect sense.
Mm.
But directly outside of it, I think it's not nearly as ubiquitous over the age of 30 as people make it sound.
Well, that- that's exactly it. So all these women I was with, they're all either in perimenopause or menopause because that's our whole field and that's who we deal with. And so, yeah, they're all, you know, in their late 40s, early 50s. And this is just not in our, it's just not in our everyday. So it was fascinating. So I'm really pushing for them to go to TVE virtually, if nothing else. So we'll see. But thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. It was like I said, it was a lot of fun.
Okay. You're about to dive into something else, Blue?
Well, I was actually, you know, we were talking about AI, which kind of triggered something for me. We have this little project that we're working on that I have one of our developers taking a look at, which is to see if we can build an AI tool inside of Obvio to help you do stuff with the application using natural language. So things like click a little help button and say, can I want to create an event, a virtual event that's taking place September 15th through the 18th, called blah, 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 blah. Can you build out the event for me? And from that statement, have it actually create the event, set the dates, create an area, select a template, and kind of do some of the basics to try and make the application a little bit easier to use so that you can use some natural language when creating it. So we're experimenting right now with that as a concept. Um, yeah. Did you see Aiden's
Tease.
demo on that? Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty
Not
neat.
yet.
It's pretty neat. Yeah, we're basically building an MCP. What's really cool, you'll really appreciate this one, Grant. How I'm having him do it is we're building an MCP server so that technically if you have the API keys and you have the access to it, we're building it so that we use it inside of Obvio, but as you know, we were talking about enterprise accounts having access to the API. Somebody who has an enterprise account could potentially do stuff with Obvio outside of Obvio.
Hmm.
So anyway, kind of crazy, but there you go.
It's super cool. Kat.
Hey, I was curious, what was the part that stood out for you in Hermosi's 7-hour training? Blue.
Mine? Oh,
Mhm.
I haven't watched it.
Oh, I
I
thought you
watched the
referenced it
first. No, I watched
yesterday.
I got to minute 1 hour and 22 and fell asleep. So I have not watched the end of it.
Do
I
you
will
recommend
in that
investing?
first hour. In that first hour, I'll tell you a couple things that he did that I thought were really, really well, like really good. I mean, it was a masterful execution of something that he's been planning for 3 years. Like this is not, you know, this was not something that, you know, we talk to people all the time. And they're like, how long do you need to do a live event? Well, you could probably do it in 3 months. This took him 3 years to plan. And that's not hyperbole. He's been planning this since the last book launch and actively planning it, that as far as I know, for the last 18 months. And when I say actively, like working on it every single day for 18 months. So the piece that I thought he did absolutely masterfully was define the stack, the offer stack, right? And talk about the things that you got as a bonus and how he justified the price point of it. That entire first bit of that was done probably in minute 45, something like that, was really he did a really good job of not just saying what it was worth, but explaining why it was worth that. And what, because oftentimes when we say it, we're like, oh, and you get these 12 mastery days, and that's worth $120,000. Now, I know the logic behind how I came up with that number. It's based on essentially, if Barry charges this amount for a VIP day, and we say, well, okay, it's multiple people, so let's not make it that. Let's make it, 1/5 of that, and then multiply that by 12. That's how you get that number. And it logically makes sense when you hear that. We don't say any of those words when we tell the value. So oftentimes when you hear, this happens to me anyway, when I hear somebody do an offer stack and they're like, and you get this mug valued at $17,000, right? People are like, okay, whatever. But when you say you get this mug valued at $17,000, and I say that because the inner lining of this mug is pure gold. And, the weight of the mug is X amount of ounces, and we can sell that gold for $17,000. So I have no problem telling you that this mug is worth $17,000 because it is, right? And that's essentially how he did it. I'm being a little goofy with the mug because it's the only thing I had within arm's reach, but that's essentially how he did his offer stack. And you were sitting there as he's talking about it and going, yeah, that is worth $65,000. You're right, Alex, it is. You should charge $65,000 for it. It's actually worth way more than that, right? And then he does the next one and the next one, and by the time you're done, you're like, man, this is for sure going to be $50,000. Like, there's no way this is less than $50,000. And then he goes, well, but instead it's going to be 30,000, and that would be reasonable, but I'm not going to do that today. Instead, it'll be 10,000 because that's really reasonable. And you're like, yeah, it is really reasonable. I'll be
Take my money.
Yeah. Where's the credit card input system?
I could sell that mug straight away and make a profit. I got
exactly. This is fantastic. And then he was like, but instead, I think we could do it for $49.97. It's $5,000, but instead it's free. And you're like, wait, what? But it's like $100 gazillion, and like it. So it just instantly, it was really, and I remember he did that really well at the last one, like 3 years ago. He did his offers. His offer stack was really, really good then too. But again, I didn't watch past an hour and 30 minutes. I have the recording, so I will watch it at some point. I need a long flight or something where I have nothing better to do and no internet. Maybe I'll go visit Jason or something. But those were
come on. It's on YouTube right now.
It's on my computer right now. I downloaded it.
Oh, I mean, so he actually gave the offer in the first hour rather than towards the end.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, well, yeah, he got to the offer surprisingly quickly. I was amazed. Well, it took him 3 years to get to the offer, but I mean, okay, apart from that, 3 years and an hour and a bit. But the genius that in it is that he will, well, not immediately, because it takes time for everyone to claim their books. He'll have increased his email list size by 3 million, and he won't have paid a penny for it, right? Because and normally your free plus shipping books, you make a loss, right? Unless there's an upsell. He's got people to buy the book in advance, and then the people who claim the book pay the shipping. So he's literally paying nothing at all to provide those books, and he's increasing his list size by 3 million people.
Yeah. Yep. And he's got the back, and he's got the entire back end, right? Which is, he's also at the same time looking for companies to invest in, which is a big part of it last time as well. So
only 3 million in advertising. Nice money.
So is
$3.1 million.
Wasn't it 4? I think it was 4.
I think it was $4.5 million, and he made 6 million at the front end. before he
Yeah.
dropped the offer on the day.
Yeah, because they
So
pre-sold
how much did it cost to attend the event?
free
It's free. How did he make 6 million in advance?
book sales. He sold the book. He pre-sold the book. And he
Oh,
probably
so
had
it's
upsells and downsells and cross sells and inside out sales and upside down sales and all sorts of funnily stuff.
The only upsell was you buy one book, and then the next offer was go ahead and buy 15. That was it. that was the upsell.
just a
Did he
throwaway
have
comment.
a downsell if people didn't buy the book?
No, I don't think so.
Who are we talking? Who are we
Because I
talking
went
about?
through it and I bought one book for myself, and then Adam bought the book, and the 15 books upsell, which was $500.
Yeah. Alex Hermosi.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So
guy that claimed to break the internet last year, but really all he broke was Obvio. That guy.
Did he use Obvio this time?
No, he didn't. And I wouldn't have used it this time either if I was him. Because
So what did he use then?
Zoom. I mean, he basically just had 1 or 2 meetings of Zoom. Like he didn't have a whole lot going on. It was mostly people who were watching on YouTube.
Hmm.
I know he had that studio custom built in his place, but is that just maybe his top end clients or his friends who were in the background there?
What's
Was
the
it just
fastest
pre-record? Was it just
Yeah.
pre-recorded background like yours in the studio?
Like fake people? I don't know. I don't know if they were fake. It definitely was just one Zoom room. It was either just one Zoom room or just one gallery that had been multiplied.
Yeah, I saw it multiple
Because
times.
because you could it took me a while because they were doing they did a good job with camera movement. But bottom line, there really was really only one gallery that was active, and that was replicated across.
Mm.
And it looked like they were using tiles to create the overlay, the background. Zoom tiles, which basically is an add-on application that creates custom galleries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Kind of like Zoom ISO.
It's like you bored yourself in the moment that you were about to explain what that was. It's just like,
No, I remembered how
It's
much
an
in that
add-on.
moment. I remembered how much I hate liminal. So
For personal and business reasons.
no, not personal. I like Andy a lot.
Yeah,
I just I really seriously dislike their applications.
fair enough.
They have
Well,
they
so
have
does Mud.
failed me.
So does Muddy now.
They have failed me so many times that I just
Yeah.
they failed me this weekend. We have a Zoom ISO set up for our speaker line, and it failed with 3 people in it this week. I was like, God,
What was the failure?
it's a long story. It was probably not Zoom ISO's fault.
User error.
No, it was we weren't getting audio back from it, and we had to restart the application. Like I tried a couple different things before, and it was in the moment. So Muddy will appreciate this when you appreciate this too, right? When you're under the gun and you're just trying to solve a problem, you're not trying to figure out the why, you're just trying to figure out the fix. We'll deal with the why later. And the fastest fix was just, quit and restart the app. We had a regular Zoom meeting in it. So the people didn't go anywhere. They just lost our feed for a moment. And of course it was right during a success panel, which was a pain in the butt. So anyway, Barbara, you have a real question to get us to stop just talking crap? That'd be awesome.
No, I love listening to all that stuff, but I do actually, as you were talking, because I have decided to move forward. I know last Friday I was having a pity party for myself, so I've decided to move forward. But I was going to have you walk through doing a dashboard for me because that's something that you do that on the Obvio calls on occasion. But I'm wondering, are you willing to review a dashboard? I want to take the opportunity to actually make it the way I think I should, and then
sure.
have you review it before I put it out there. Is that an option as well?
I way prefer doing that. It's way
Sounds
less
Okay.
work.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would be awesome. And
Okay.
it will give you the practice of using the application rather
Right.
than just
That's yeah.
this product. And I'm happy to make changes. Like we do that all the time. I have
Okay.
actually I feel like we haven't done it in a while because people haven't brought those to us in a while. But yeah, whenever they do, I love doing that stuff.
Okay. Cool. Then I think I'm going to work on that myself, and because I really feel after I watched you do it for a couple other people, I thought I can do this. I can do this and then have someone fix it. Kind of like Copy Clinic, where just bring in the crap and have someone look at it and tell you what you need to fix. And I think I'll
Totally.
learn a lot better that way. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll open it up and not just tell you what to do differently. I'm happy to actually make some tweaks too. And I'll ask before I make any tweaks.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that'll work. Okay, great. Thank you.
no worries.
Okay. Any other Obvio questions?
I just wanted to finish up the
Okay.
comment about Alex's event. He did have it available on YouTube right after the event, but it appears that he might have taken it down now. And he has like an 11-hour long open cart to continue the book sales. Is this one of the largest book launches you've seen, Blue? And how much rehearsal should we be putting in on our offer?
So is it one of the largest book launches that I've seen in our space for sure? I'm not, is it the largest book launch ever? Or was that just somebody that, got the right outfit at a Halloween shop? Because those are the sorts of things that I wouldn't put past him.
Pretty sure it hit the record, but whether people consider it really legit from the point of view of one person buying 10 copies and then trying to find 9 people to palm them off to, I don't know.
Yeah,
as opposed to somebody.
Wasn't it 200? Isn't it 200? That's the $5,000 offer was 200 books, wasn't it?
There was a 200 and then there was an 800 book
Yeah.
upsell.
Yeah.
800? Who would buy 800 books?
It's not about the book.
I mean,
It's really not about the books. I will tell you, it's the same reason I have 100 freaking copies of what's his name's book? What's the power of, not the power of one? Shit. Oh man, I've got a funny story about books and a book launch. What is the guy's name? Really muscular guy. Not Alex Ramosi, although
I'm talking about David Goggins.
him too. He did his thing at Scoggins's studio. What was his name?
Right.
Jocko Willink.
Say it again. We gave you guys a copy of the book. If for some of you who came here, I'm trying to remember what it was. Shit. Muscular author.
And how is it that you came to have 100 of the books from said
That
author?
narrows it down.
Tell you in a second. I have to. I can't. I'm not going to be able to get this out of my head. I can't remember his freaking name. I'll go grab one. Give me one second.
I mean,
You could get pretty muscular pumping 100 books.
David, I like your humor.
It's a lot of MML strategy, is not necessarily for people to sell the product, just to buy it and fill their garages with it, right? And that's and there's, you look at lots of the massive MML companies. I think of like Herbalife and things like that just have been very successful in selling boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff into garages that sit and rot. And so
She will pump you up.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't be a girly man.
Yeah. So
That literally
but yeah.
made me laugh out loud when you did that. I just put something in my mouth. That's awesome.
For those who remember Hans und Franz.
Oh yeah. Muddy, what was your production question? Bring us back to some normality.
Yeah, my question was, so when you have a big event where you have more than one Zoom room, what you'll need to do is bring the video feeds out of that one room and then send them into another room, right? And so I'm curious about some of the contribution. So that's called contribution, bringing those videos into a studio, cutting them up and sending them back.
I'm Alex Ramosi.
Oh, that's
Figure
still
out how to
loud,
perfect
Kat.
each of
Sorry.
Mute.
Yep. Sorry.
That's
And
yeah, she got bored.
I'm curious to some of the contribution methods. So, for instance, when you have a local studio where people are coming, like Sage, those video feeds are directly coming from cameras into the studio and then can be sent out. When you have remote presenters, you need to capture those remote presenters in some way. And so there are tools like Zoom ISO, and many other tools have Zoom built in now, Ecamm, vMix, Wirecast, lots of others. So I'm just curious, what are my system failed me today with trying to be in a meeting with 1,000 people. One way to solve that is to have a separate speaker stage that only has the speakers in it. So then it won't be such a large meeting. That will be my primary approach. But I'm curious what contribution methods are preferred for big events like some of the ones that you guys work on. You know, is it Zoom Room, AB Pro? Is it vMix? I'm just curious what some of the. So that was the root of my question. What are some ways to pull the video feeds out from large meetings?
So I mean,
Grant may
you
have,
go, please.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Grant may have some better answers than I do in terms of technical, but I prefer simple. So really, even up until a couple of months ago, we were using Zoom, just Zoom. Not, I have tried some of the other tools that I think they're all built primarily on WebRTC. For getting video in, and some of them will provide a higher quality video and higher quality audio. But my experience with them, and you don't have to, kind of like you're looking for another solution right now, you don't have to have a lot of fails before you give up on something, especially in production. And I just keep going back, begging for more from Zoom ISO, but whatever. But I've not had very much consistent luck with some of those WebRTC tools. What I have found, and the simplest explanation as to why I'm not having good luck, is consistent internet and bandwidth issues. And Zoom just handles crap bandwidth so much better than any of those other tools. And especially because it will prioritize audio over anything. So even if they get so bad that they start freezing up, you still, generally speaking, hear them perfectly fine. So we've always had the best experience with Zoom ISO, with Zoom. I've started to integrate Zoom ISO, and outside of the problem that we had recently, which was, I think in the end, it was actually our issue. It wasn't actually a Zoom ISO issue. It was a routing problem. I like that the solution for having one or two speakers in, like, that you have to get a video out of. Like we're running 2 SDI feeds out of our Zoom ISO machine into our switch. And it's a nice solution. It works really well. And it works way better than the other solutions that I've tried. But again, I haven't tried something recently. So Grant may have tried something more recently than I have.
I love how Blue basically dissed my answer before I even got it out. It's like Grant may have a more technical answer, but I prefer to work and to be simple. I don't want whatever might be more complicated. The reality is I agree with Blue and I do the same thing. And that, Muddy, and you know this, it's like when I go down the decision tree for how to do this, I don't see a lot of advantages. I don't see any advantages really in having speakers in with attendees. I only see problems with that when you're doing a multi Zoom room event, because if you're only doing a one Zoom room event, then there are some advantages, right? Because people, you could have them screen share themselves. You can just add spotlight. You sort of do it all within Zoom, and you're not needing any local production at all. As soon as you go to multiple, you've got to have some way of pulling those people out, as well as any screen shares and whatever else, into the other meetings. So you're forced into doing a broadcast at that point. And so because of that, what is the best way to broadcast is completely separating your contribution and distribution. When you try to do contribution and distribution in the same meeting, it just becomes a problem. And so then you add on that you have way better interaction, like stage managing of your speakers, when you can have them in their own speaker, a speaker room. So now you're able to talk to them. You're able to make it much more human, which makes it a better experience overall, and also separates it from all the boring Zoom business meetings that they have. It's like, this is a different thing. Hey, Blue, I want to see are you feeling okay about, do you need anything? Do you feel like you can see what you need to see? Have you got your timer? We're pushing a timer through to you, where whatever it is, right? How can we assist you and make sure you know exactly what's going on? We've got a chat feature or something that you can see the chat and, keep interacting and that sort of stuff, right? And so there's all of those where I'm just like, I don't see any advantage in using a different contribution. I totally agree with Blue about Zoom. Some of those other systems, most of them are muxing together the video and the audio together. And so if you have bandwidth problems, then you are going to have audio breakup. The reason that in Zoom that we see some sync issues every now and again is because Zoom is sending video and audio separately. Yeah. And it prioritizes audio over video. So sometimes it gets out of sync and it needs to catch up. And that's because it's pushing audio through. And so that's one reason technically. And another reason is that people are already familiar with it. I'm not asking them to jump through hoops and give permissions in the browser and all this sort of stuff. They're doing they're doing something that's super familiar to them. And so I don't know, Muddy, do you have pushback on that as to any advantages in doing it in a different way?
Well, that all makes a lot of sense and aligns with everything that I have experienced and believe as well. And the other complicating factor, when you have the speakers in an audience room, I actually had to produce 2 shows because I had to affect what room 1 sees, because the speakers are in room 1. So I'm spotlighting and multi-spotlighting, and they're sharing and unsharing their screen because that's what room 1 sees that they're in. Whereas I'm pulling their feeds out, putting together a program feed and sending that to rooms 2 through 15. So what rooms 2 through 15 see are different, right? So I'm basically cutting 2 shows to make this work. And so when you have too much to think about, that leads to a less smooth experience as well. So, and the people who were in room one with the speakers, it wasn't as good. The view wasn't as good for the audience because most people, when the speaker screen shares, the screen share takes over the whole screen because that's the default setting. So, it wasn't the best. The biggest complaint or the initial pushback I usually get is the speakers don't feel like they are as connected to the audience. And so you just solve for that. So you need to make sure that the speakers have a gallery view or more than one gallery view that they can see, that they've got the chat coming back so that they feel that interaction. And that's what they're craving, right? They want to be in a room where there's lots of other people. And sometimes speakers want to call on someone impromptu, which, that's another thing that needs to be designed for if that's the case. But go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, no. All of that's accurate for sure. And I also think there's the flip side to that as well. We oftentimes will get speakers that if they're in the main room, they get bombarded with DMs, like just absolutely pummeled, which is its own problem and its own distraction. I think I showed you the recall thing that we've been working on.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we have been using that a lot with remote speakers recently because it's so easy to get a bot into a room and get a chat feed and send the speaker a link and be like, here you go, here's your link. It's the same as what Grant does with OmniChat and Zoom ISO. It doesn't need another machine. And it's real time.
It's someone else's machine.
Yeah, whatever. It's not mine. To me, it's not a machine. So that's been a really nice touch for speakers, because the feeling disconnected is a real thing. Like I get that. But most speakers, they are more connected by the chat than they are the gallery. Remote speaker, like people who are used to being on Zoom.
Yeah, that's a good point. And
they care
keep
more
saying,
about,
hey, if you're with me, put one in the chat, or right? Like we want to see that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that side of it, I get, and I think it's a great solution. It's an easy solution. And then everybody has the same experience, because the reality is the people in rooms 2 through 10 or 15 or whatever, in your case, they actually have a better experience than the people in room 1. Because the people in room 1, like, I don't know about you guys, like I hate it when somebody spotlights and the share screen and the full screen interaction and like all of the stuff that Zoom does when those things happen. I don't like as a participant in Zoom because I like to control my own experience, and I don't like when somebody else tries to control it for me. So anyway, yeah.
Good chat. Appreciate it.
Tell us the story of the muscular book author.
Okay, so it was Ed Milet. And I think I bought 250 of these. And I didn't buy 250 of these books for the book. It had nothing to do with the book, actually. I bought it because my brother-in-law was a huge fan of Ed Milet. And if you bought that amount of books, Ed was hosting a small mastermind group, and then private dinner at his home, within a couple of months. So I bought, and you got 2 tickets to that. So I bought the 250 books so that I could give that to my brother-in-law and he could go to that experience, which you can't, like, that's not something that you could get otherwise. So for me, it was worth the 250 books, except for the fact that now I have 250 books, which recently we needed to elevate a couch in our studio. And we didn't have anything to do that with. So we built these wonderful blocks, which are in fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these books wrapped in gaff tape. They were the perfect size and weight. They were really fantastic. So I was able to find a use for 20 of them.
The power of
I'm
one
holding on
more.
to- I'm holding the power of one more book. We'll need another book, please. So yeah, that they actually came in exceptionally handy a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, there you go. Who knows?
I mean, I've
You know what we'll do this time around when you guys come to TVE? Anybody who comes to TVE in person, I'll get you an Ed Milet book.
excellent.
Casey,
Do
Leapers
you,
don't have to buy them. Just come show up. I'll give you one, please. Like I'll pay you to take it out of my office.
do you know? I just saw this is another use case for those books. I saw someone a little video of someone who was trying to hide. I don't necessarily suggest this for a router, but they were trying to hide their Wi-Fi router, and so they glued 5 or 6 books together and then cut the inside. They cut all the inside out of them, and then just had the book sitting there and had the router built in underneath it in the books. And so you could put a few of them together, Blue, cut them all out, and you could hide things there.
Oh, that's
Could be
fantastic.
a little stash of candy or something.
I could also put them all on my bookshelf backwards, though, so you don't really know that they're all just the same
What
book.
they are.
Yeah.
But what you did is brilliant, because you can, if we come get a free one at Leap, we paid what, $2,000? So you have sold us a book plus the experience, and somebody else paid for the book.
Well, no, I paid for the book. Let's be clear. I did pay for the book. but not because I wanted the book, because I wanted the free stuff you got with the book.
Are you allowed to resell them?
Yeah, they're yours. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you want a box? I'll give you a box that you can sell.
Blue, why don't you print your own jacket for them? And now, right? Now you can make
the power of one more.
The power of one less.
One less book.
I'm like, since COVID, the problem for me has been the power of one more burger, one more, box of fries, one more chocolate bar. That's been my problem. I need the power of one less.
One less. That's funny.
There you go.
I've got one more solution.
Okay.
So in 81, I was on the cover of National Geographic World Magazine. So wow. I took copies to everybody in my family at Thanksgiving time, and I handed them out. And my sister opened it up and saw an actual article and was absolutely shocked. And I said, "What'd you expect?" And she goes, "That you went to King's Dominion and had the cover made." So back then you could pay $5 at King's Dominion. You could go to King's Dominion, get 200 covers made, and you'd look like a genius author. Now, let me also say that on my cover, on my magazine, which was actually legit, it just happened to be the date of April 1st. So I never got past that.
Yeah. They're still not 100% convinced that you didn't just go to King's Dominion.
Never profit in your own land.
There it is.
Hey, Casey, could I ask you a question real quick? Do you train animals, or are you training people to train animals?
I train both. So what I'm known for is teaching animals to cope with stress and manage their emotions. And now I train professional trainers online, but they have to learn to cope with stress and manage their emotions. Also,
I feel like I could use that space.
I have a 2-year-old. Could I send my 2-year-old grandbaby to you?
No, but I'd be happy to teach you what to do.
I'd love that. Thank you.
I just got a new German Shepherd puppy, and she's 3 months old, and she's bitey. And today during my class, we showed how just as you hold on to the animal and give them information, It's really information based because you literally need the animal to learn how to do this and choose to do it for themselves. And it's the same thing for us, right? Like, I have a medical condition that looks like diabetes, but it is all cortisol. And so everything they tell you to do for diabetes doesn't even affect it. So I have to learn what I teach others is a lot easier to teach others than to learn it yourself. But anyway, I'll turn it back to you guys.
It's fascinating. I've got a 9-week-old cavoodle in our house now, in our family, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, we're like the best advice we've had is like they're always training. Dogs are always training, and so are we.
Yeah. But you know what? With exotic animals, the animal can die of stress from something it doesn't even have experience with. Like an impala can see a dog 2 blocks away and either drop dead or run into a fence and break its own neck. And they actually had that at National Zoo in November 2013. But with the animals that we have taken through this process, they keep breaking longevity records. So pathologists will tell us that disease is 90% stress. And here's what we're seeing. Like my horse now is over 34 years old. So that's old for a horse.
Very cool. All right. Any other questions? Let me see if there was anything posted. Just loading. No. All right. Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? All right. I think we'll call it then. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's do it again next week. Awesome.
Y'all,
Bye.
we'll see you.
Wait, before we go,
Oh,
I wanted to ask
oh,
if anybody else spent a lot of time last night or this morning working with some of the AI stuff that we learned yesterday.
I
That
haven't
we taught
logged
it.
into AI since the workshop ended. I was like, I don't
Oh,
want to see
okay.
AI for at least 24 hours. I'm done with you.
Okay, I noticed you haven't driven to Florida.
No, I haven't. So that's its own story.
So Amy, I did what Blue suggested, is going on a walk, and I have never used GPT ever. Yesterday was the first time. And I went on a walk and I just said to this lovely British man that kept talking to me on my chat GPT, which was very yummy. I just said, just keep asking me questions. I said, I just want you to learn more about me so it can be integrated into into my memory. And so he just kept asking me questions. He must have, I was like, I feel like I'm on a date. Like literally, if I were on a date, this guy would have had me. I was like, it was great. It was just asking me information about me, about just things that interest me, things that I would like to learn, things that I have learned, blah, 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 all these different things, just to kind of get that in there, just so there was information about me. So now when I go and do business stuff, it can connect the two. But it was interesting. It was funny at times. At times I was like, oh, I really have to think about that. I'm like, Barbara, you're talking to someone who's not even a person. But
I swear to you, I do the same thing when I'm having a conversation like that. You're not alone.
Yeah. But it was really eye-opening for me yesterday, and I'm glad I took the time. I mean, I was on like a 90-minute walk doing this, and I was not even planning on taking a walk, but I'm like, I'm going to take a walk. I don't care. It's 95 degrees outside, whatever. I'm just going to just walk around. But it was interesting. And then when I went in to start doing some business stuff with it today, I actually told it to, because I was asking questions, and it was similar to what you were saying, Blue, about, what we've put into Obvio, or not Obvio, into Obi, bringing it over and trying to, get more robust information. And I said, I want you to connect it with what I talked about yesterday. I wanted to include all the stuff I shared about myself yesterday. And some of the information I was getting was really like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted it to be. And I feel, ridiculous at this age, not knowing that I could do stuff like that, but it was worth it. It was worth just taking the time to say, and all I kept saying to him was, just keep asking me questions. Cause like, if you want to talk more about that, let me know. Or do you want more questions? I'm like, just keep asking me questions. And I just kept, answering the questions he had. So it was interesting. Did you do anything with it, Amy?
I didn't do that. What I did was, I have to write a webinar for an event coming up in November. And it just so happened that I had already written the course that I wanted. I'd written out the notes for the course that I wanted to use. And I loaded those into Notebook LM. And then I asked it to make a video and also to make an audio file. And it took a couple hours for it to make it. And here's the thing that I thought was so cool about it. It didn't just word for word read my course. It read it somewhere and got the concepts down. And then the video is like conversational, explaining what I was talking about. So and I mean, there's some pretty big concepts in there because it's about neurology and musculoskeletal systems and all that kind of stuff. And it was able to distill it down to make it usable, reader usable. So
That's awesome.
I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I love Notebook LM. The more I play with it, the more I like it. And I love how you can continue to give it more information to get it to continue to just get better. So you once you've fed your notebook a bunch of information, you can go back and add additional sources. You're not limited by what you did when you first created it. You do then have to recreate the video or recreate the audio or the files or whatever that you created out of it. But yeah, I think it's really cool personally.
That's great to know. So
yeah, very cool.
That was fun. That I was blown away. I was calling people, hey, listen to this video. It was fun.
So I'll use this as a way to say goodbye.
If you ever need to talk or need more advice, I'm here for you.
I appreciate that. It's always good to have a sounding board. I'll definitely let you know how it goes. Thanks for the support.
Anytime. I'm glad to be here for you. Take care and good luck with your chat.
Thanks a bunch. I'll catch you later and let you know how everything turns out. Take care.
Sounds good. Talk to you later. Take care.
You too. Have a great one, and I'll be here whenever you need me.
Thanks. Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
You too. Have an awesome day ahead, and I'll be here whenever you want to chat again.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thanks so much. You enjoy your day as well.
Thank you. Take care. If you ever need to talk or need more advice, I'm here for you.
It never ends.
I appreciate
it. Remember what Mike said yesterday. In reality, these things are still pretty stupid.
That's right. It's like the
There
definition of wanting the last word.
Customize it.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, y'all. We'll talk
All
soon.
right.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
That's great.